This is T.H. Culhane for SolarCITIES. I'm with Andre Matena, who's behind the camera, working with the University of Essen. I'm with the Patel College of Global Sustainability at the University of South Florida in Tampa. And we're now moving the original flagship biogas systems that we started our research in SolarCITIES with in 2009. They've been up here on the porch at my home in Essen, Germany, and now they're going to be moving for educational and for home use. But these were the original flagships. This IBC tank is a 1,000-liter IBC, and the original way that we did it, because it was very hard to get uniseals back in the day, is we used these particular parts and we put the 2-inch or 50-millimeter pipe through the lid to feed down at the bottom. You can see the nice biofilm that forms where the microbes actually live and inhabit, so that acts as surface area for the microbes. This went down inside. The gas came out. Remove these pipes for a second. The gas came out here, and actually the pipe is all the way up, and I think I have that to show you here, somewhere here. Yeah. So this pipe actually went here, and that's always got to be higher than where the feeding level goes in, so that the water level can be here and the gas can bubble up. Nowadays, of course, we make these a little bit wider to keep them from clogging, but this worked and has worked for years. But we do recommend, if you're building a new one, make this pipe as wide as possible and narrow for your valve up at the top. But it still works just fine, comes out of the top of the tank. That's the gas out. And then there's a hole that's, there's a hole here, and this pipe here is for the fertilizer coming out. You'll notice in our latest models we're taking it right out of the top and then going over, but originally we made the hole in the center of the tank, and then it comes up and it spills over, and we have all those parts sitting somewhere. Actually, this was the part here with the adapter, so this is what comes here. And so this was the whole system. Food goes down the center, it gets digested, gas comes out here, and the Flüssigkeit, the fertilizer, comes out here. Whenever new food is added here and the water level is up to there, of course it spills over and down into your fertilizer bucket or hose. So that's that system there. Then we had another system, and that other system was a 700-liter tank inside a 1,000-liter tank that was cut, and that was so we could do passive solar hot water heating. When this was elevated, it used to be elevated on another stand, then it was higher than the solar panel, and what would happen is the cold water from the jacket, from the other tank or surrounding this, would come out the bottom of here, go into the bottom of the solar hot water collector, which was angled up. So you have to imagine this thing was up like this, and the tank was up here, sitting above it. And then the cold water went down to the bottom, and then came up and came out and went into the top of the tank over here. And so you had thermosiphoning of hot water passively. As long as the sun was heating this, it was then entering hot water here and the cold water there, assuming again that that is elevated above the solar hot water panel. And there was a thermostat here as well that was connected to a water pump, a 12-volt pump powered by these photovoltaics, so that we could also circulate the water at will. When it reached a certain temperature, it would turn on a switch, and then it would send the water through. So that way we're only sending the hot water through. We also experimented with Arduino microcontrollers so that we had logic built into the circuits to turn on and off valves. We're trying to figure out the cheapest but most effective way to do it in different climates, so that was part of that experiment. Over here we have the styrofoam that went into, that surrounded all of these. These were completely boxed up in styrofoam, and then we covered them with stretch wrap, black material. They had to be kept black so that they, would not let light in, because light would help grow algae, and the algae produces oxygen, and the oxygen kills the methanogens. So they had to be kept out of the light, so completely opaque and black. It also helped with solar gain when the sun was shining, to keep a thermal layer of heat so that heat wouldn't leave the tanks. This one was heated with a pipe that came from the bathroom down here. All of the food waste and all the shower water and all the bath water used to be pumped out. There's a pump under the bathtub. It would come in and that water would go into the system. It was all automatic, so we didn't have to do anything. All the hot water would keep this one warm from the inside while the food waste also went in, and then the fertilizer from this came out this side, and then it went into either the garden or it went into the drain. We had that option. We also have here a macerating toilet pump that was used for experiments to see if you were to hook up a toilet, but it was also a way of having a grinder. We could put some food waste down in there and automatically pump it in. So we had a lot of different plumbing going on, a lot of different experiments over the years that we did. These are surface area media, biofilm, and these used to be inside. They were hung with a float, and these would float. They've got pond filter blocks to create more and more surface area. These are sold for 10 cents each in the aquarium shops here. Very expensive. Eventually we started using just cut up plastic bottles, but we got these to make the efficiency very high. And this way, with these floating inside, it didn't really matter how much water we put through it, because as long as there was biofilm formation, food particles could get trapped and bacteria could live, you could send water through, just like in a coral reef in an ocean. There's a lot of water going through, but the coral snatches the food, and the microbes and the algae live together, and they eat, even though there's storms and there's wave. So the idea was we could take the soapy bath water and send it through, but not wash out all of our bacteria and not wash out all of our food, because we had these. This turned out to be even better. Potato sacks, anything that lets the food particles go in but lets biofilms form, and you can put the media in. We had a lot of gravel, which we started with, and with zeolite, and we took volcanic rock, and we put all these things that are very porous at the bottom. So there was a sludge layer that was active, that was buffered or protected from any kind of overfeeding acid event. Down underneath the gravel, a lot of microbes would live, and that's one of the necessary things, is that you have a lot of surface area down there. But you also want surface area up at the top of the tank where it's warmer, because the bottom of the tank will always be colder, and the microbes don't like cold, they like heat. So by having vertical surface like this pipe or like these, then the microbes can live at different temperature regimes. Of course, here in Germany, we had to insulate everything with foam on the outside, and we did go through 6 events where they froze into solid blocks of ice because I wasn't here to keep them warm, and they just bounced back in the spring when they thought they started working again, even though they froze. So that was that. Here's the greenhouse. There was a greenhouse that was assembled around this tank, and it was from here to here to here and up like that. We grew some plants on the inside and kept it nice and warm. We had it surrounded by, we had this around it to make it look more attractive. There's a lot of things you can do aesthetically. And let's see if there's anything else that I can show you from all the plumbing parts. Oh yes, here. This is what was inside, besides the bags of different media. This was electrical conduit that I put in as well. Anything that lets the microbes live, holds food particles, and a whole bunch of these we had. And so there's the sludge that came out. It's still microbially active, and we hope that this will start up very quickly once that's put in. And then here's the gas bag. And the gas bag still has the last gas that we produced before we shut the system down. This is a 1,000 liter bag, and with this you should be able to cook for about 2 hours on a single burner. We can start cooking right away right now. So let me turn on the gas here. And this is a Chinese pump that pumps the gas. Let's come here. Grab a lighter. Get a lighter here. Alright, so there's the biogas. Picking that up a little bit. Alrighty. And we can put on a plate here. So this is from our hopefully soon to be cooking show, Walking on Sunshine, Cooking on Biogas. And we can put some mushrooms in there. And let's see, get a couple of eggs. So as you can see, the biogas flame is really clean. It has no odor. This is an old stove from Cairo, from the slums of Cairo where we developed our program, and we just modified it by removing the restriction jet so that it could accommodate the biogas, because biogas is under low pressure. And let me cover this up. A little bit of milk in there. So cooking on biogas is exactly the same as cooking on natural gas. It's people say it doesn't have the same heat quality. I think that's absurd. They say this because biogas is 50, 60 to 70% methane, depending on what mix you get on a given day, but normally about 60% methane and about 40% carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a flame extinguisher. It does not burn, it puts out fire. But the reason the idea that this is not burning as hot is a myth is because carbon dioxide is heavier than air and falls out, while methane is lighter than air and rises. And therefore, at the tip where it's burning, it's just methane. Carbon dioxide is not burning, it's actually descending. Sometimes that happens because this is not made for biogas. That was fun. I want to show, by the way, just how safe biogas is. I'll blow it out and I'll let some gas accumulate. People say, what happens if there's a leak in the house? Well, for one thing, you have a very limited quantity of biogas in that bag. That bag is 1,000 liters. At most, as I say, it can cook for 2 hours on a medium flame like this. But if you were to light it, it would go out very quickly. Here I'm just letting the gas rise and rise and rise. And notice if I put the flame underneath, that's all that happens. If I get down really low, I can't even get it to ignite because the carbon dioxide is what's falling. Unlike propane or butane, which are dangerous gases because they're heavier than air, and then you could have an explosion in the house. Here, the biogas is lighter than air, it's rising. The methane's separating from the carbon dioxide, so we don't get ignition there. Up here, it's too lean. There's not enough. The methane is spreading too quickly as it goes into the air, and so it will not light up in this area. Only when I get down to a certain height above it is it rich enough, and then it lights. So it's a really safe gas to work with. And I think that that's one thing most people don't really appreciate about it, that it does not explode. And one more time, I think I should show that. That even though we're standing here with gas being emitted, or let's take it, let's just go like this. Okay, here, you can't get it to light. Here, you cannot get it to light. But when I get to here, it lights. So it's not a dangerous gas, and even if I'm letting it go like this in the air, as you can see, the buildup, I think maybe you can smell it a little bit by now.
Yes.
Right? But it won't light here. It won't light here. It won't light here. It just can't. It won't light down here. Only there. And again, no explosion. So biogas is a really safe fuel to work with. And yeah, so that's it. Maybe you want to get a close-up there, and you can press that button to get still photographs. Actually, let's do one more still photograph with this thing like this. You press that top button. Ain't that fun?
Okay, I think
okay, so thank you very much for Solar Cities, and remember, we are professionals, but we ask you, please do try this at home.